Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the third video I'm doing on Algo, and I have to admit, kind of obsessed with this program at the moment, so you're going to see a lot of videos on this. Hopefully you're finding them useful and helps you make a decision whether you want to buy a Algo Premium or not. If you use my link in this article, which I'll put in the description below, you can get 30% off using my STA30 code, which means you can get 3 months of Algo for about $100. They also offer a monthly plan, so you can get 30% off the $60 a month as well. I think the $100 a month, $100 for 3 months though, is an absolute bargain, especially considering the cost of alert services and things, and the fact that you can tailor these strategies to fit your own particular trading preferences. You can also use the indicators in conjunction with other alert services to better time your own entrances and exits, which is something I'm doing with some success as well, and I'll talk about that in future videos. So my plan here is to talk really quickly about whether you can use Algo for small cap stocks. So most of the examples I've been given over the last week in these videos has been on SPY. And so somebody asked today in the Facebook group, again I'll leave a link in the description if you want to come and join the Facebook group that I run, it has about 7,000 members, and we talk about things like Algo and these alert services and courses and things as well. So a guy in there was asking, he said, hey, and does this work for small cap stocks? Like, you keep showing it on SPY and some of these bigger things, but does it work on these smaller cap stocks? So I thought I'd have a quick look at that. I used to trade small cap stocks all the time, and kind of last year kind of went out of style a lot, switched to options and larger cap stuff, and basically that's where I started, was trading these small cap stocks. So it's a good time to revisit that and see if Algo is something that might work with it. So let's have a look and see. So what I did is I pulled up the Yahoo Finance with a list of some of the most popular at the moment small cap stocks. So here they are, right here. And so some of these names will be pretty familiar to most people, like Riot and Mara. Some of them you'll have never heard of. Small cap basically means anywhere from 300 million market cap to 2 billion. So these are sorted with the basically ones that are at the high end here of what would be considered a small cap stock. So let's take a look at them. I think Riot's probably a good one to look at. And let's take a look at a couple of them and see if the current settings I have on TradingView are going to work for these smaller cap stocks. So I'm using the real basic algo, the premium algo here. It's called the signals and overlay, right? So it's the main core algorithm that gives these upsells for buying, and then these down arrows for selling, and these little crosses here for taking profits. And so I've talked about this. I've also got the reversal bands here, so the green reversal where you can sometimes see a bounce off of it, and also the red where you can see a reversal to the downside as well. And my trades so far, I've only done half a dozen trades. They've all worked really, really well though. And obviously there's extensive backtesting you can do and everything, but sometimes it's worth just kind of looking through signals in different time frames, seeing if they look like they're fairly consistent, and coming up with your own strategy. For example, in the last video I talked about using these additional features, which is the volume, so big amounts of buying volume as a potential confluence to these indicators and things. So I'm going to keep exploring all this, but let's have a look and just see. This is the 5-minute chart for Mara. And so Mara is the high end of small cap, right? So it's a 2 billion market cap. It's very liquid compared to some of the ones that we're going to look at least. And it looks to me like the basic Algo works pretty well with Riot, right? So we can just pick some signals at random, just kind of a random sampling rather than a big thorough backtesting, because backtesting's all well and good, but it depends on how you set things, right? So you might have a signal, you have to use some, like, these signals are not supposed to be followed absolutely blindly. They're supposed to be an addition to your own thought processes and things as well. And I think that's where a lot of people get into problems, is they start to think that they can just blindly follow every signal, and then they get frustrated if they can't seem to make it work. These are tools, and I think when you treat them like that and use your own system, basically you can do this a lot better. So for example, like, the exits are kind of one of the key things. So you can see a signal where you can make more money if you use your own thought process. rather than just following the indicators blindly. And I'm just kind of looking for one here. It's not immediately obvious. And so sometimes they're spot on though, like, well, for example, let's look at Riot's one here. So this was a down signal, so you'd enter about here. And so you could wait for the up signal, which would be way up here, and you'd end up either taking a small loss on this. And zoom in. It's not the best example, but it's kind of, hopefully kind of what I'm talking about. So you enter here on this little down arrow, and then you exit on this candle here because you're selling short here and then covering here. And so you end up breaking even or making even a small loss here, especially if you're slow to get out because you don't really trust this candle, for example. But one thing you could do, and would be smart to do, is you'd say, hey, I've marked up this market order thing. That's what this zone right here is. And so when you short here and you start to come down, and you can see that we've tested here before, just a little bit above these big orders, and then a little bit here again. So you might want to take some profits here, right? Because you're starting to test these big market orders right here. And so that could save your trade. That would take somebody from like, okay, cool, I made some profit on that, to Lux Algo sucks. I lost all the money back, I didn't really do anything here. And it's just one example. Again, like you might use something like see, these signals are actually pretty solid, and so this one, like, great, you're getting a down signal, you're following it down, a little cross, take some profits, okay, exit as soon as this indicator starts to come in. So you can see that these signals are pretty reliable, but you do want to put your own flavor on it, and you can do that by adding a whole bunch of other Lux Algo stuff, which I'm slowly doing over time, and you'll see these videos as I progress through the different settings that you can do. But this so this is Riot, and you can see we've got a good down signal here, good cover here. Probably take some profits when it hits this reversal zone. Within, the algorithm's telling you to do that too, which is good. These things are never perfect, but you can see that probably similar to the SPY results. It's really not a huge amount of, like, it's not like they don't work or anything. You still get these kind of choppy things sometimes. But overall, you can see that the signals do still work on Riot as well. So here's a short right here. Again, you probably want to be covering when you enter this reversal zone. And in this case, it wouldn't really matter, but sometimes it does. So you got to be a bit careful. So just looking at the signals, you can see these definitely work. This is the 5-minute chart. We can look at like the 1 minute as well, see how that looks. Just saying to zoom in here. So it would have been a difficult one because remember you're entering on this candle and then you'd probably be exiting here. So this would probably be a losing trade. This one right here, another really good one. Again, you can see this market orders, big block orders here acting as support, so it's getting bought up immediately. So again, you might be wise to start taking profits here when you're hitting this reversal zone and these heavy market orders. Otherwise you end up having to wait all the way up to here, which still be a winning trade, but significantly less than if you're following some of these other things. And you can just layer these things on and on and on until you find something that you're happy with that eliminates as many of the false signals as possible, or it's just you're more comfortable with. Okay, so that's Riot. Doesn't look like it's like the whole thing falls apart or anything. It looks like it's pretty similar to SPY. Let's go down and look at a couple other ones just to see. Because one thing I'm curious about is as you go to this much smaller cap stuff, so like these ones where the volume is tiny and the cap is like 355 for UCAR. So that's at the other end of small cap. It's starting to get to micro cap almost. So let's look at UCAR really quick and see if this system breaks down completely when you start to get to these much smaller stocks. So let's look at UCAR here. Kind of crazy. And see if we can set this like here. Okay, so this is UCAR on the 1 minute. And it's just 1 day. So have a look and zoom in on some of these. You can start to see that the 1 minute candles barely have any volume. They're starting to go kind of flat. Not so good. However, the signals do still seem to work. For example, like this one. So zoom in. Sometimes you got to like really exaggerate the scale here. So you can see buy on this candle comes all the way up to the reversal zone. You get a little sell signal here. So that signal worked well. This one, not so well. Again, it bounced off one of these market orders, which is I'm finding pretty helpful. And then really just kind of flat, and then you end up probably taking a loss if you'd held this all the way over here. So it does still work, like this one. Again, this has been kind of flat, unless you use this reversal zone area to start taking profits, which again I suggest you do, because that's what I do and it seems to work well. This signal was great, so you can see it went all the way down from one of these big sell-off orders. So again, this is very useful, these green and red orders. And I showed you in the last video where you can put that on. And let's just collapse this. So you got a nice down signal here, take profits here, makes sense because you're starting to hit this reversal zone. And then all the way down to here, take more profits. So clearly these signals still work on these really small cap stocks, at least on the 1 minute time frame. Not every signal works, but still it's clear that it doesn't all just fall apart as soon as the volume and the market cap dries up. So let's have a look at a couple more, and then hopefully that will be helpful for you guys. Let's look at NVAX, it's another popular one. Yeah, so NVAX on the 1 minute, these candles are pathetic, but you can still see it works just fine. You know, buy arrow here, take profit as we hit the reversal band, but hopefully hold on all the way up to here. Scaling out seems to be pretty important with this, but also a lot of other types of trading, like just trying to make sure you get your strategy figured out. Here's a buy, it went all the way up to this reversal zone, looks good. This one, not really much going on there, kind of choppy. Let's look at like a longer time frame, let's do like an hour. This is where things get kind of crazy. Hopefully TradingView doesn't totally mess this up. I like TradingView, but it definitely goes crazy sometimes. You know, like, maybe it's just me. Not that familiar with it either. Just kind of getting more into it now. Okay, so this is the 1 hour chart. You can see a buy signal here. It does kind of thrash up amongst this stuff though, so that would be a pretty tricky hold because it being so close to the reversal zone. Still, the signal worked quite well. Take profits up here, and then it reverses off the zone here. So kind of just looking through this. There's another good short here, all the way down. Just kind of looking through. So you can see it still all just works very similar, even with these small caps. So hopefully that answers the question that we just got recently about whether the signals like work for these different stocks and things. And so far my opinion is that they do, even for these really small ones. Let's look at the smallest one here, which is 118 million TCGAH. Alright, this is crazy. Let's see if this can even show something. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what we're looking at here. Is this an IPO? Looks like it only started 10 days ago. So clearly that's not gonna work. Can't really look at that. Let's just do the next one, which is Hoodie, HUDI, and then we can call it a day there. In the next video, by the way, I'm going to go through a couple of the other features on Lux Algo that I found to be pretty useful, so it'll be worth checking that out. I'll also keep that video, the blog post updated, so most of these videos are going to end up in the blog post as well, all in one place, so you guys can go and read what I'm saying on there, but also watch the videos. Again, really bad volume on the 1 hour here. This is really low volume, these candles that are barely forming. And so, downside signal worked out pretty well, upside signal worked out pretty well, downside worked well, upside. So it still works even though the liquidity is horrendous. Let's see, good down signal there, good up signal there, a little bit of thrashing around. Yeah, a bit of a mess here though, but what do you expect? There's barely any candles forming, so yeah. So hopefully that helps. I think it is useful for smaller cap stocks as well as the larger cap stocks and indices and crypto and futures, which you can do on all of this stuff, which is really cool. If you want to do futures, you do need the premium trading view because the date is delayed. The date is delayed for futures on the free version, which is the one I'm using. So tried this, just yes maybe. Yeah, so here's the future, so going the opposite way to one of the most liquid markets there are really, so it also works on those too. And look at this signal all the way up to here, reversal zone, pretty good. So yeah, so it works on small caps futures, it works on a lot of stuff. It's a really cool program. I'm pretty obsessed with it, and I think you guys are going to hear me talking about it more and more. This is the article I'm adding the videos to. Again, you can get the deep discount at my link here. It's a referral link to them. So I kind of partnered with them on this, and I'm just writing up all my experiences and things in here. Hopefully it's helpful. Alright guys, till next time.